Here we go. Another new episode of the What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast is about to begin. It's hosted by Mark Duvel and John Hanson. These are some cool-ass motherfuckers, man. They may look like goofy-ass dinglings, but they kind of know some shit. Check it out. You dig?
Welcome to What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast with hosts Mark Duvel and John Hanson.
Are you kidding me?
Two old friends and knuckleheads discussing and covering their top 4 choices for any and all topics, making up their Mount Rushmore selections each week. Nothing is off limits. As you listen, remember, we always want to know, what's your Mount Rushmore?
Hey kiddos, thanks for joining us again. You're back, we're back. Everybody's happy. It's the What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast with me, John Hanson.
What's up, dudes? Welcome back. I'm Mark Duvel. I'm the other host. And this is an outrageous topic, a fun topic, and a rite of passage topic, if I dare say. So that being said, everyone sees it on our title of every episode, so you know what our topic is this week. That being said, joining the show today is a damn Twin Cities legend and entrepreneur. John and I met our guest today around the year 1996 at the very radio station you've heard us plug far too many times. So I'm going to pass this time. And that's a pun.
Wow.
He has since built 2 very successful careers. One, he's a realtor like yours truly. For the legendary, world-famous Coldwell Banker. And he's also started his own company and business related to the very topic we're going to be kind of flirting around and dancing around today, which is why he's the perfect guest to discuss our Mount Rushmore picks of stoner movies. You've heard him on local radio stations promoting his company. We know him as Red. The official records show him as Eric Redlinger. So let's get to it, man. Let's welcome Red to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. My company is called Minneleaf, and we spelled it Minneleaf. And you can pick it up at Minneleaf.com is the website for it. And we specialize in low-dose hemp-derived edibles. I mean, this is the stuff that's going to help you sleep. It's going to help put your smile on your face. And we have some products that are really unique to our company. And one of our best-selling products is a pain cream. And I know, Mark, you've used it in the past. And that's something I think we haven't seen in this marketplace. It's something that's really going to help you. You can put it on your tennis elbow, your golfer's elbow, anywhere you have aches or pains, and it alleviates that pain in about 7 minutes. One of our best-selling products. And our other best-selling product is our Night Sleep Gummy, which has no THC in it, just CBN. That's the cannabinoid that makes you go night, so I call it CB Night. So it's CBN and CBD, and that's perfect for a quick, deep, restful sleep that'll help you sleep all the way through the night. So if you're waking up in the middle of the night, taking one of these kind of helps your body get back on track. If you're falling asleep, take this because it helps you fall asleep and stay asleep all night long.
Wow.
Hey, on the cream that Red was just mentioning, he's not kidding, folks. So a lot of you who have listened to us week in and week out, we don't really hide the fact that I'm very involved in my son's baseball, and I'm the head coach of his now 14 AAA traveling team. Now, along the way, these guys have become young men, and they're no longer boys. But along the journey of me coaching, I throw an awful lot of batting practice. I can throw batting practice for literally an hour and a half straight sometimes. I was telling Red about this at one point. This is going back a few years. I do put this ointment on it as a pain. You rub it in real nice. It has that like menthol, what do you call it? Eucalyptus,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it really is potent, and it really does relieve the pain or discomfort. So I personally will vouch for that one because I do use it quite a lot. And especially now that we're entering the baseball season and it's fresh off the brain, because literally last night I did throw batting practice for an hour straight.
Wow.
Came home, put the ointment on my arm, and I was snug as a bug before you knew it. So that being said, Eric does have his own company. It has it has exploded, and it is a great venture. It's kind of a passion project, I think it's safe to say. Would you not agree?
Absolutely. I really enjoy it because I love seeing people get better lives through the use of cannabis. You know, the nice thing about being legal is you can just really pick the effect you want. You want to fall asleep but not be high? Super. You just want to be high and be up? Well, great. We can do that too. You know,
Yeah.
and it's allowed so many people to get relief and pain relief. And there's no reason to live with pain or live with bad sleep.
Yeah.
It is kind of the refreshing thing about what has happened here in the last handful of years, where the whole element of, just marijuana, THC, CBD, the taboo element should be completely flushed away at this point.
It always cracks me up when I see these billboards that say "Don't drive high." I'm like, whoever made that ad has never been high. Let's get high and go somewhere. That's not how it works.
That's
Yeah.
usually, it's like, it's kind of an old line I've always had. If you put 5 drunks in a room, there's bound to be a fight. If you put 5 stoners in a room, they'll just start a band.
Yeah. They'll also start watching all these movies that are going to be on our list.
Also, yes, perfect transition into why we are here today. We are here to welcome Red, but we are here to put together our Mount Rushmore list of what we think are our top 4 individually, our top 4 stoner movies. Now, that could be almost just movies. Because most of the time, a good movie is a good movie and would fall under this category. But we're kind of really zeroing in on the bullseye of what has the essence of a perfect stoner movie. So like always, we're going to give our guest the honors to get our show on the road here. So Red, what's your first pick as a stoner movie?
All right, my first movie is Half Baked. I was looking at these stoner
nice.
movies and thinking what makes the essence of a good stoner movie, and I think it comes down to a couple things. I always love a good cameo. I love when someone unsuspecting comes out and you're like, oh, that's great. I love cameos. They're perfect in stoner movies. And then also quotability. Is there stuff that you can quote about this movie going forward on and on? And so that's why, Half Baked's there. It's a great movie. It's got Willie and Snoop and Jon Stewart as the cameos in, and of course, Dave Chappelle. Tommy Chong pops up, Neil Brennan pops up, Tracy Morgan pops up, so it's great on that.
A scavenger smoker is someone who never has weed of their own. But as soon as you smoking, here they come. Bam!
What up, dog?
And
What's up, dog? Scoot over. Let me get in here, man. What y'all doing?
nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's chilling.
I smell it. Let me inhale it. Let me hear something.
All right, man, just one hit, you scavenger.
I ain't even hit the motherfucker yet. Back up, man.
You know we sell this. I don't know if you knew that.
Quotability, it's not that high on my list. You got a couple good lines. One that Bob Saget says when he pops up. But was this on any one of yours lists?
No, it didn't make my list. I definitely had it on my longer list. When I ended up narrowing down to 4, it just missed my cut.
Mine it's very much an honorable mention, and I did go with another movie very close to this vibe, which I'll get to. But this is it's an appropriate pick, man. I mean, the title of the movie says it all. You're not really wandering into that theater or that rental or that Netflix evening with any doubt in your mind what you're about to see.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not a secret. I mean, especially when you just listed that cast, it's pretty obvious. Just buckle in because you're probably going to be chuckling for about an hour and a half.
Right.
Yo, who's on munchies tonight, yo?
Get some sour cream and onion chips with some dip, man. Some beef jerky, some peanut butter. Get some Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars, a whole lot of hot. Make sure chocolate. Gotta have chocolate, man. Some graham crackers, the marshmallows, the little marshmallows, and little chocolate bars. And we'll make some s'mores, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yo.
Also, celery, grape jelly, Captain Crunch with the little crunch berries. Pizzas. We need 2 big pizzas, man.
It's a great pick, man. What's your first one there, tough guy?
When I sat down and started thinking about this list, I came up with, as we often do, came up with a bunch of titles, had to narrow it down to 4. But I decided right away, right up front, I wanted to squeeze in or maybe force in a Cheech and Chong movie, because I just thought, they're the first, stoners in movies. So I went with their first movie, Up in Smoke, from 1978. And This movie actually is listed as the first stoner movie ever made. So this sort of launched a whole genre of these types of movies. Cheech and Chong were obviously a comedy duo. What I didn't know is they'd actually been together for 10 years before they even made this movie. So they were, because they toured the stand-up circuit. They had made comedy albums. They were actually very popular by the time they got around to making this movie. I honestly, it might not be my favorite Cheech and Chong movie, but I put it on here because I wanted to put their first movie on. And again, the movie that's sort of considered to have launched that whole genre of movies. And it is a funny movie. I have seen it in not too long ago. It made a lot of money, which is not surprising because those guys were really at the top of their comedy game in the late 70s. So it was a big hit.
It was in this shit, man.
Mostly Maui Wowie, man.
Yeah?
But it's got some Labrador in it.
What's Labrador?
It's dog shit.
What?
Yeah, my dog ate my stash, man. Had it on the table and the little motherfucker ate it, man.
Yeah?
So I had to follow him around the little baggie for 3 days before I got it back. Really blew the dog's mind.
You mean we're smoking dog shit, man?
It's a great pick because you're right. It is like the Gone with the Wind of stoner movies because
Yeah.
it's just the whole vibe of Cheech and Chong. It very much revolves around this product. It's
Right.
Without the product, there is no Cheech and Chong. It's what their identity is formed around.
Exactly.
And it's what makes them hilarious. And you're right. I have seen this somewhat recent. And I remember watching it numerous times when I was younger. But yeah, all these years later, it's not quite how you remember it.
Yeah.
It is kind of a bad movie, but it's so nostalgic and bad and good all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
With just cheap laughs.
It's one of those, it's almost so bad it's good type movies,
Yeah, their characters are so stupid, they're amazing.
It just really doesn't hold up, which shows you what kind of entertainment quality they were expecting in the 70s. So too bad this podcast wasn't available in the 70s.
Oh my God. We could have been huge in the 70s.
Yeah.
Giant.
Oh man. That's
We
awesome.
could have been like Casey Kasem.
Or Siegfried and Roy, whichever you choose.
Nailed you with the burn!
I think I'll go with the first.
Yeah,
but
please.
It's a good. I mean, I knew we were going to somehow. One of us was stumbling into a Cheech and Chong selection,
Absolutely. It has to be on the list.
and it would have to be Up in Smoke for God's sake.
Well, I considered their second movie, which I think it's just called their next movie, Cheech and Chong's next. They weren't very original with their titles, I guess. So it was Cheech and Chong's next movie was their, sort of a sequel. They play different characters, but let's face it, they're the same guys no matter what they do. But the funny thing about this original movie, it was directed by Lou Adler, who was a very famous music producer, and he had produced, Grammy award-winning musicians of the 60s and 70s, and this was his first sort of big foray into directing movies. What I didn't know about him, though, Mark, you've seen this guy many times, and you just didn't know who he was. He's the guy with he always has the kind of the weird sunglasses and the weird hat that always sits next to Jack Nicholson at Laker games.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, that guy that's always next to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
He looked like a spaceship dropped him off at Staples Center because he looks out of this world.
Oh, always weird. Yeah, weird hats and the glasses and everything. And but that's the guy that directed Up in Smoke.
I feel like that guy is constantly just living through a constant flashback.
Probably.
Day in and day out. The damage is so done.
You could probably say the same about Tommy Chong, actually.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Cheech and Chong were on CBS this morning, last Sunday, and they have another movie coming out. And if you want to talk about it, it's called The Last Movie.
Yes, I did see that.
They
saw
went back
them.
to the same well for movie titles.
It's That Well Ain't Dry. There's another one down there.
There's a couple drops left.
That's funny.
Well, it'll be worth seeing just to see like because they're old dudes now too. Like they're not spring chickens from the 70s. They're old essays now, man. Well, my first pick is going to be a movie that we have talked about before, but it was under the soundtrack category that we did last year. And I'm going to bring us back to 93, which was the start of my high school life. And to me, this is my version of the Godfather movie of this genre, and it is Dazed and Confused.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah.
And the reason I can't ignore it, it is such a identifiable movie. Even though I went to high school and was a teenager in the 90s, that's the beautiful thing about technology. It hadn't infiltrated or wrecked our lives quite yet. So a high school day in the life in the 70s isn't that different. Fast forwarding up to the 90s. Quite frankly, this movie is probably on my Mount Rushmore of just movies. Like if I really was forced, and I know John and I would never do that vague of a topic, that'd be lame. But if I had to like pick my top 4 movies, I know I'm going to reserve a spot for Dazed and Confused just because of how impressionable this movie was, how timely it was, and again, how relative it was. The whole idea that they were going to have this huge party on the last day of high school for that school year. The party gets broke up because the parents foil it. So now they're in limbo, which on the last day of school, I got to imagine is torture when they've all been planning on going to this huge house party. The day in the life of me going to Park Center, these kind of things happened where parties were supposed to happen. It was the big talk around school. Then it implodes for whatever reason. And then we now were in charge of finding our own fun. The only difference was we didn't have a party at the Moon Tower like they do in Dazed and Confused. We had 2 go-to backups. One was simply called Oak Grove, which is now like the home of like giant subdivisions in North Brooklyn Park full of little McMansions. And then the other one was off Ladd Parkway and Noble Avenue. And we called that the Pallet Factory. And it was in a little industrial park that was completely surrounded by buildings. So we would just load the kegs, load the fun, get the music going, and we would just get out there, have drinks, have some smoke, play hacky sack, and just have a party.
Yeah.
So when you watch this movie for the first time, it's laced with incredible music. Hence why it made my soundtrack Mount Rushmore. It's got some of the best rock and roll from the 70s. But I just love that it depicts the final day of school, but a lot of it is based on one of my favorite characters who's more relatable to this topic, which was Slater. And Slater was the big stoner in this movie and would personally be on my Mount Rushmore of movie stoners as a character because I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah.
You're getting air from there, man. It's no good. You see this? It's gotta be tight. You're gonna have to put some gum around the base of that to get a good hit, man. Hey, man. Picture's gotta do. We're about to burn. Are you with us?
Think about it. Yeah.
You cool, man?
Like how?
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And like on quotability, I mean, I don't even want to do the quotes because you've heard them too many times, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right though. That when you said that earlier in the episode, that's kind of what makes a good stoner movie is all the like lines that you'll regurgitate the rest of your life. Yeah. I'm looking down my list, and I'm like, that so qualifies. So everything we're about to talk about, at least on my list, and I'm betting yours, just all of yours, it's probably very, very real that's a fact. That's what makes a good stoner movie a stoner movie.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about it. That I'll tell you what, you probably think that's going to be on my list, but it's not. And the only reason that it's not is because we have talked about it a couple of different times. If for some damn reason neither one of you would have picked it, I would have squeezed it in at the end and made a quick pivot. But yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's probably on my Mount Rushmore of all time movies too. We have a courtyard area at our house, and we bought a big giant movie screen. It's like a 12, 13-foot movie screen that we set up. It's kind of a collapsible. We set up in our courtyard and we sit out there and watch movies outside. So it's like our own little drive-in theater, basically, where we watch movies. And the first movie we watched out there once we bought this screen was Dazed and Confused. So
damn straight.
We love that movie, my wife and I. It's just a blast. The soundtrack, too, is absolutely amazing.
I listen to that soundtrack constantly. Still do. Just because it puts me in a good mood.
Yep. Yeah. And as far as cameos, Ben Affleck appears in it.
Yeah,
right.
O'Banion.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what's Ben Affleck doing in this film? Which I find is one. And of course, it's the first appearance of Matt McConaughey.
Right.
It was all right, all right, all right. It was literally his first motion picture. He had done a little bit of modeling and like a couple commercials and just happened to be at an Austin, Texas bar when Richard Linklater was in there about to start filming. They start having drinks together. And next thing you know, the guy's like, have you ever acted? And he's like, well, I've done a couple of like commercials. That's it. He's like, I think you'd be great for this one role. I'm going to send you a script. And then as soon as McConaughey read these lines, like, you know what I love about high school girls? I get older, they stay the same age. And when McConaughey talks about this all these years later, he's like, when you read lines like that, how do you not just get automatically excited that you're being welcomed into the mix of being a part of this movie?
Yeah.
And he thought it was just going to be like a weekend, like, oh, cool, I'll do this. This will be fun. And then it parlayed into he's one of the biggest movie stars we've known in the last quarter century.
You know Wooderson? How's it going, man?
Hey. Pretty good. How's it going with you?
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
There we go. We all got one on the board. So, Red, what do you got? Pick two.
So this is a stoner movie that you typically don't think of a stoner movie, but it most certainly is a stoner movie, and that's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Nice. So
The
great.
premise of this cinematic gem is that Jay and Silent Bob, the characters from Clerks, have written a comic book who in the previous movie, the rights had gotten sold. And so now they're going to be making this movie in Hollywood, and they need to get there to stop the movie from getting made. I mean, it's just every single, it's not like an M. Night Shyamalan script where there's a big surprise at the end. In this movie, you know what it's going. They're just going to feed it to you straight, and they do. It's hugely quotable, but I mean, just listen to the cameos that we have. Morris Day, Gus Van Sant, our good friend Ben Affleck. I wonder why he's in so many stoner movies. Jason Biggs, Will Ferrell, Luke Skywalker was in it. Princess Leia was in it. Judd Nelson. Wes Craven pops up in it. And, of course, my favorite, my comedy hero, George Carlin as well.
Yeah. Oh, love George.
Jay and Silent Bob are here.
Jay and Silent Bob movie?
There's a movie being made you two were the basis for.
What? And these two guys from Jersey are on a mission.
We gotta stop that stupid movie from getting made. Come on, Silent Bob. We're going to Hollywood.
How come we ain't getting no rides?
Because you're doing it all wrong. Hey, all the hitches do this. It's the first rule in the book.
Here's what's funny. So I'll go off script here a little bit, John, and I'm gonna skip ahead. I know when we match, we're supposed to announce. I don't have a match, Red, but I'd feel weird if I wait and sat on this. I didn't pick Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but I do have on my Mount Rushmore of stoner movies. Clerks,
yeah.
That laid the foundation that introduced us to Jay and Silent Bob,
of course.
And it's just again, it's a Kevin Smith masterpiece, and it's such a small indie film. He made that move. He made Clerks for under $30,000. Now he did have to once the movie company the got involved. They had to spend like a couple $100,000, for like post-production stuff and song rights and things like that.
Yeah.
But he made like a masterpiece for under $30,000 with a black and white camera. And I love that the movie is in black and white because it just adds a layer of it that makes it extra special. And again, the quotability, the lines, I still to this day with Dingling Buddies will blurt out a random line from Clerks, which then launched into the Jay and Silent Bob being in several movies that Kevin Smith was a part of.
Throughout history, they have been a part of our American life. They've worked hard enough. Isn't it time they had their own movie? Clerks.
This job would be great if it wasn't for the customers.
I don't bother them and they don't bother me.
Miramax Films presents.
You think anybody can see us down here?
Why? Do you want to have sex or something?
Can we?
Clerks. Just because they serve you doesn't mean they like you.
You hate people. But I love gatherings. Isn't it ironic?
The other thing that I love about Clerks is like you heard about Clerks. Like someone told you about it and someone would have a VHS copy because you couldn't rent it. You couldn't go online. So it got past you. You're like, oh, you got to. I remember in college, I finally, after hearing about this movie for like 3 years, I finally got the opportunity to watch it. I'm like, oh, this thing is great. I absolutely love it.
It was amazing. And especially going back to Jay and Silent Bob. I mean, they're kind of the element that makes this a stoner movie. And why? Because they're both dingling weed dealers that stand in front of this gas station. You know, what the hell is it called? The Quick Stop Grocery in New Jersey. And that's literally where they sling weed all day long in front of a video store and Quick Stop Grocery.
Noise, smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers. Pack her ass, my good man. Time to kick back, drink some beers, and smoke some weed.
Done poisoning the youth for today, huh?
Hell's yes, whatever that means. Now it's time to head over to Atlantic, drink some beers, get ripped, and hopefully get laid.
179.
Paid a good man.
You know, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. Most of them just cheat on you.
Come on, limp dick.
Exactly what you said, Red. The concept of, there's this movie Clerks, you got to watch it. I've got it on a VHS. I'll let you borrow it from me, all that stuff. Nobody saw this movie in the theaters the first time around. Obviously, somebody somewhere did. But I'm just saying, if anybody tells you that they saw it in the theaters, they're lying.
They're a damn liar.
Yeah, because there's probably like 14 people that actually did see it in the theater, and it was probably only in New Jersey somewhere. Yeah,
it was like Kevin Smith's buddies.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's check out this little film he threw together and it just entertain him. And then it just kind of like a groundswell just spread through the whole country as this, you're right, this fascinating VHS tape.
Yeah.
That someone's cousin always had. Always their cousin, never their brother, always their cousin.
Yeah.
Well, John, I went out of turn. So what's your second pick there, bud?
Well, my second pick is a movie that I've also talked about in a previous episode. I think I covered, we've done so many of these stupid episodes, I forget, but I think I talked about this movie in our episode about 1980s comedy movies, and it's Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Brilliant.
Yes.
This movie is absolutely on my Mount Rushmore of 80s comedy movies. Now it's going to be on my Mount Rushmore of stoner movies. It's just a brilliant comedy about a bunch of high school kids and what they're going through. It's written by Cameron Crowe. He started out writing for Rolling Stone, sort of documented or wrote about his own life in the movie Almost Famous. He wrote that movie about himself, basically. But
that movie is killer, by the way.
Almost Famous is an awesome movie. We haven't talked about that movie too much in our podcast, but we got to get around to talking about that sometime. He was very young when he wrote this, and it's actually, I knew that he wrote this movie, and I knew that he was very young. What I did not know is that it was based on a book that he had actually already written. But the thing about this book was he actually somehow was able to enroll in high school as a senior in high school when he was actually 22 years old, pretending to be 18, just so that he could document what these kids were doing. It was a high school in San Diego. He wrote this book about the real people that he was interacting with, the stuff they did at parties, the stuff they did at school, their jobs outside of school. And then that became the movie, changing some names around and maybe writing in a bunch of jokes and stuff. But it's crazy that he was actually able to somehow go back to school and pretend to be an 18-year-old kid to make this screenplay.
Universal Pictures presents everything you always wanted to do in high school with everyone you always wanted to do it with.
Hey, bud, let's party. I shall serve no fries before their time.
It says 100% guaranteed, you moron.
Mister, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna kick 100% of your ass. That was my skull. I'm so wasted.
See Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I think it was a lot easier to get away with crap back in the day.
Yes. Try that now, right?
Oh God, not a chance.
I mean, like, I watched this documentary about a serial killer, and they had him in prison in Aspen, Ted Bundy, and he broke out of prison, and he jumped and ran off into the woods for 7 days. And then they finally came back. It's like, well, sorry, I got tired of being out there. They put him back in and he broke out again. I mean, like, it's just incompetence. And like they had him dead to rights up in Seattle. Like, well, we think this guy's Ted. And he drives the same car as yours, and he's got gags and restraints in his car. It's like, you found a weirdo, but just not our weirdo. I'm like, do a little bit more research than that.
He's not our weirdo.
Just called and said, I think my boyfriend's a serial killer. He matches the name. He matches the description. Has the same car, but nah. Don't need to connect those dots.
Wow.
Different little times. Too much Roscoe P. Coltrane for too many years.
Yeah.
But going back to Fast Times, it's an iconic movie. I mean, and the one thing that the elephant in the room that we haven't talked about yet is, again, one of the best movie stoners of all time is Spicoli.
Right.
Yeah. It's Sean Penn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so quotable. I mean, there's lots of, again, quotability of this movie, and a lot of it does come from Spicoli. I think we might have mentioned this in our 80s comedy movie, but I refreshed myself on this. Matthew Broderick was actually offered that role, and he turned it down. And I'm so glad that he did. Because he's a good actor. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but he would not be the same Spicoli that we know now.
No.
No chance.
And it's funny too, because I've heard Sean Penn. I think it was on a Howard Stern interview at one point. Baba Booey. He was talking about like the character development of Spicoli, and he actually did base it around someone that he really did know.
Oh, gnarly!
And they never knew that until like 25, 30 years later, that he was talking and acting like that guy that he met in California. That was a total just space cadet, surfer, stoner. And one of my favorite scenes of that whole movie, and it's so simple, it's the simple fact that Spicoli orders pizza that's delivered to his classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's so nonchalantly done by him that he doesn't understand why Mr. Hand freaks out. And then ultimately ends it by saying, "You dick," which we use constantly as a sound effect on this podcast.
Oh, yes, we do.
Mr. Spicoli.
That's the name they gave me.
You're ripping my car. Yeah.
Hey, bud, what's your problem?
No problem at all. I think you know where the front office is.
You dick!
But that's a good one, man. So we all have 2 on the board. Let's keep the train moving. Red, what do you got?
Spot number 3, quotability. I think it's number 1. Cameos. You got Bernie Mac that pops up. You have Regina King. So obviously we're going with, it starts out, it's Friday. I know you don't smoke weed, but it's Friday and you ain't got shit to do. You're high as hell.
I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Now, earlier when I did say, when you came out of the gate with Half Baked, and I said that was close, but no cigar for me, this is the one that I did put on my list. Absolutely Friday is represented on my Mount Rushmore. Are you kidding? We got Ice Cube and Chris Tucker as Smokey?
Oh my God. So good. So good.
It's such a good movie, and I love that it's the time that this came out. It was 95 when Friday came out. And what I love about it is up to that point, you're kind of on the backside of Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society coming out, which were very serious movies, by the way, of all the crime and the gang violence that was in South Central Los Angeles. I love that Ice Cube follows that up with this, where it's a totally different depiction of South Central and living, in that urban part of LA. That there's a lot of funny shit that happens too. Not everyone's just getting shot and robbed and raped. We also are having fun, and a lot of that fun comes from smoking weed.
Right. Yeah.
Great pick. Great movie. I love it.
I had not put that together like the way you described it there. The 2 completely different looks at South Central. That's a really cool way to analyze those 2.
Yeah, because I'm a fan of all of them, by the way. Like, I love the movie Boys in the Hood. I definitely love Menace to Society, but those are more of a darker nature depiction of life in the hood, so to speak.
Right.
Where Friday comes along and it makes it look incredibly fun.
Yes.
It was such a good movie from beginning to end. The story, at least, it has a good arc to it. My favorite thing about that movie is just how everyone interacts with each other. Everyone's got all these other stories. I mean, it's kind of, like the other movies that we liked.
I love the dad too. The dad he's got so many good lines in this movie, and it's where you're introduced to Debo, played by what's his name, Tiny, who I think just recently passed away. But yeah, I love that he has like a line about you're not going to want to go in the bathroom for like 35 to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.
Just licking his lips, just go to the bathroom for 35 minutes. Because everything about it was just upsetting and disturbing.
Everything
why
about
is he
it.
licking his hands from just being in the bathroom?
And that's what's so cool about it too, is that this was the first installment of, I believe it's a trilogy, is it not?
Damn! They made a Friday 3?
Yeah, because there's Friday, there's next Friday, and then Friday part 3 or the third or whatever. But I like this one, the origin story that sets up all these characters, and it did become the big franchise that it was. But God, Ice Cube, Chris Tucker, that combo alone, and then when you just sprinkle in the other cast of characters, the other appearances, the one lines, perfect stoner movie. So back to you, John. Again, I went out of turn twice in a row now.
All right, so now my third then. So my third pick, very quotable, but also cameos. You talk about cameos. This movie is full of cameos, and I hadn't thought about that. So I don't necessarily have them all written down here, but it's Ted from 2012. It's the most recent movie on my list, but my God, there's a lot of cameos in this movie. Written and directed by Seth MacFarlane, of course, who also plays or voices Ted, the teddy bear, along with his smoking buddy and roommate John, played by Mark Wahlberg. If you've been living under a rock, basically it's a teddy bear that comes to life, and he's foul-mouthed, he smokes pot, and he's horny. And I guess we can leave it at that. But
It's okay, I'll drive you. I feel fine.
You know what I like to do to her? Something I call a dirty fuzzy. We'll go back to my place for a couple of vodka and strawberry quicks.
It's just such a simple concept and such a clean concept, but I love where McFarlane took it. That this teddy bear Ted is filthy.
Yeah, it's absolutely filthy. Yeah, you're right, because it could have been a whole different thing. It could have been like a kids movie, where the teddy bear comes to life. Nope. Don't let the kids watch this one.
When this movie had its theatrical run in the theaters, that there was suburban moms bringing their kids to see this movie about a teddy bear that talks.
Oh boy.
And somehow we're living under a rock and had no idea of what they were about to expose their kids to, and all the explaining they were going to have to do after.
Right.
Look, all I'm saying is that Boston women are, on the whole, a paler, uglier sort than women from the elsewheres of life.
That's bullshit. What about Lori? She's hot.
No, Lori's from Pennsylvania. It's not a Boston girl.
They're not that bad.
See, the fact that you have to say they're not that bad means that they are that bad. Do you ever hear a Boston girl have an orgasm? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Had it. Oh, God, that was so good. Now I'm going to stuff my fucking face with Pepperidge Farm.
It's got to be rated R.
It's got to be rated R.
It is, but I'm just saying, we all know not everyone is as put together as us three, where we think things through.
True.
You're just going to see a teddy bear. It's called Ted, and it looks like a big huggable bear.
Yeah. Well, he is kind of a huggable bear.
It's definitely a teddy bear I'd want to jam with. I know that.
Yeah, it was a big success. It made $550 million at the box office, and then spawned a sequel, obviously a couple years later. So here's the thing too, and I think I've told you about this, Mark, offline. I don't think you've got a chance to watch it yet. There's a TV series about Ted that's on Peacock, and it is actually very, very funny. I had low expectations of it. I didn't even really want to watch it. My wife started watching it, and she said, no, trust me, you're going to like it. So we went back and we watched it together, and it's just one season. They do have a second season coming out, and then hopefully in the near future, but it's very funny. The comedy that's in the movies is exactly the same comedy that's in this TV show. It's just a prequel. So it shows Ted with John. Mark Wahlberg's not in it, but John is a teenager in this movie. So it's a fun movie, or a fun TV show, I should say, on Peacock.
I will get into it, and you have brought it up to me before. And let's not, while we're on it, we can't forget this movie produces one of the most iconic songs ever made, the Thunder Buddy song.
Right.
Thunder Buddies.
Exactly.
I think that had me like to the point where I had to pause the movie for a little while just to recover from my laughter when I heard them singing this song laying in bed together when a thunderstorm was happening.
Yes.
Mark, I forgot how that song goes. Could you refresh my memory?
When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your thunder buddy and say these magic words. Fuck you, thunder, you can suck my dick. You can't get me thunder because you're just God's farts.
Great pick, Ted. And I promise I will get on that show because it's too funny. I just know it would be.
Give it a run.
Well, that puts 3 picks on all of our mountains. So now our anchor pick there, Red. What's the grand finale?
Well, mine overlapped with you with Dazed, so I'm fresh out.
You're out.
The cupboard is bare.
No honorable mentions? Nothing?
There's nothing there.
Okay. I can't say I blame you, though. Dazed and Confused, for crying out loud, belongs. Yeah. And you seem smarter than that to just ignore Dazed and Confused on a stoner movie list. John, I get it, because I think he knew I was going to pick it anyways.
I did.
And you know it's going to be on the list, and I'm surprised if it's just not the top on everyone's list.
That movie, not to go backwards, but to me, that's just a great movie. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I'm real. This sits behind me every time I work. Is I got Wooderson.
What an anus.
So Mark just held up Wooderson action figure in pristine packaging.
Absolutely.
Has not been played with.
Not to be played with.
Not to be played with.
Which is typically what's on someone's sexual activity when they own an action figure
of Matthew McConaughey.
It's mint package. You're kind of like Ted, as we found out in Ted 2. Ted doesn't have a wang.
But somehow he brings the thunder.
Somehow
he brings the thunder.
Well, John, what's your anchor pick then?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, so my anchor pick, there's not a lot of, I haven't seen this movie in a couple of years, but I don't remember there being a lot of smoking going on in the movie with the characters in the movie. But I know for a fact there was a lot of smoking going on as these guys were writing this movie. And it's Super Troopers from 2001.
Yeah.
Total slapdick type comedy.
Oh, God, I love this movie. It was written, directed, and starring the members of the Broken Lizard comedy group. These guys were a sketch comedy group that formed when they were in college. Basically, I'd say 70% of the cast of this movie is these guys from this Broken Lizard group. So they written and produced and directed other movies. I think Super Troopers is the best of the bunch of all the ones that they did. The movie itself, it's about a bunch of state troopers in Vermont who generally are more interested in amusing themselves and, messing with motorists than they are at actually enforcing any laws. It's just a lot of fun.
Super Troopers. Wow! In this town, you don't mess with the law.
You know how fast you were going?
65.
63.
The law messes with you.
Isn't the speed limit 65?
Yeah, it is.
I'm freaking out, man.
Give me a double bacon cheeseburger.
Double bacon cheeseburger? It's for a cop?
What the hell's that all about? You gonna spin it now?
No, I was just telling him that so he makes it good. Don't spit in that cop's burger.
It did lead to a sequel, and I think they're working on a third movie too as well. But
really?
Yeah. A little fun fact about this movie, Brian Cox plays the boss. He plays like the captain of this state trooper offices or whatever. That role was supposed to go to Bill Murray. But for whatever reason, they pivoted at the last minute and used Brian Cox instead. But that would have been an interesting movie with Bill Murray.
Do you know I saw Bill Murray last week?
Oh, that's right. You saw him perform live.
Singing.
Really?
Yeah, with the Blood Brothers, and great comedian named Dave Hill opened. And
Wow.
it was surprisingly good, like to the point that I'm like, I probably should record this because this is kind of a good moment to remember. But being in the act and the moment, and obviously the band cooked, and he ended it. They did a Prince song, and then he goes, "Let's keep it in Minnesota here," and they did "How Does It Feel?" Feel like a rolling stone. And it was great because he was angry and he was pissed off and he was screaming and throwing some, like Gozer.
What venue was that at?
That's at the Orpheum.
Weird.
What a cool
And
show,
there
man.
were plenty of seats available. Like we went down there with cash money in hand, didn't pre-buy tickets, walked in with cash and bought tickets, which I didn't know you could actually buy tickets with cash anymore.
I didn't know you could buy anything with cash anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Live Nation still got $5 for that cash transaction.
Of course.
Well, you're damn straight. Wow, that's cool, man. That was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. I heard about it on the internet and I was like, shit, I'm going to go to this. And I did. And it was fantastic. And I'm glad I did. It's one of those, like, I'll go to any concert. If you just give me tickets, I'll show up. I don't care who's playing. Just going to concerts is fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was at one also last week. Just a different scale, I guess, to some degree. I was at U.S. Bank Stadium watching AC/DC and Brian Johnson. Real quick, I know this is not what the podcast is about, but I have to be a little critical of what I saw. But it's insane that Brian Johnson, lead singer of AC/DC, he is out there doing damn near a 3-hour set, and he's 77 years old.
Jesus.
Now, Angus is 70, and he looks 77, where Brian Johnson is 77 but looks 70. But I don't know. It's not the AC/DC I remember seeing multiple times throughout my concert-going life. It was cool going. It was cool to be a part of it. It was cool seeing them live. But you can tell the age has caught up.
Yeah.
And we've been down this road on other bands. We've talked about Aerosmith. And then again, the poster band of all of this is Motley Crue, because they should be banned from touring as long as Vince Neil is singing. And I take no joy in saying that. I absolutely love Motley Crue, but when you're just singing noises and other words to the lyrics, and it's been caught on tape. I mean, if you Google that, you'll hear what we're talking about. Vince Neil, it's over. Stop it.
Right.
Well, actually, I prefer these lyrics because that's how I would sing them as well.
Good point.
Well, there is that.
Oh, yeah. Get to my house is a badoba. Oh, yeah, baby.
I just wonder what is his reaction if anyone's ever played his isolated audio back to him, and then just say, "What say you, Vince Neil?"
No, they haven't.
What justification do you have? But anyway, well, I'll finish this bad boy off with my last pick.
This all out.
Yeah, he'll get his scissors out.
This will be like an 8-minute episode when I'm done with it.
For real? Damn, it must be true.
And clean off your bowling ball because we're going there right now. 1998, The Big Lebowski is my final pick.
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
How the hell do you put a movie that has the main character as the dude who all he does is smoke weed and drink White Russians throughout the entire movie?
Are you employed, Mr. Lebowski?
Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
You know, The Big Lebowski, it's just a huge cult following type movie. Like, if you've seen it, the odds are you love it. And it's a movie truly based around character development. And that's what I think is kind of cool about who wrote it, directed it, produced it, and that's the Coen brothers. That's kind of what they're known for. They don't really produce too many stinkers, and this is so far from a stinker just because of the whole thing, the plot, the characters, the comedy, and especially Jeff Bridges as the dude. It's epic. Again, talk about iconic Mount Rushmore stoner characters. He's in that conversation too, which probably does play a key role in how they make it onto our lists as stoner movies. there usually has to be a character or two that fits the bill.
And he does. The dude does. The dude abides.
The dude abides.
Yeah, quotability, 100%.
The dude abides.
Yeah, I mean, if you see Big Lebowski, someone's going to say the dude abides. It's a Pavlovian response. We offer them good cinema, they give you the dude abides.
Right. The Coen brothers aren't necessarily known for stoner movies, which is interesting. A lot of their movies are deeper and have a lot more going on. But then they made The Big Lebowski, which to me is a perfect example, perfect for this list.
Typically designed and written around a significant crime that has taken place.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
That is kind of their calling card.
Good point.
What a fun list, though, because again, these are all movies. Every single movie that we've talked about, whether it was my pick, one of your picks, I've seen it multiple times because they're just good watches. They grab you, even if you know what every line is that's coming, you still anticipate it. Well, one more time. I mean, we couldn't have had a better guest for this topic than Red and his company, Minneleaf. Minneleaf.com. It's where you're going to get all your goodies, all your little nightly vitamins.
One of the things we have is our chocolate, which is absolutely fantastic. I started the company with this product because I knew if I made a dark chocolate that tasted like good dark chocolate and didn't taste like weed, I could take the world over.
And
so
here you
welcome
are.
to phase one.
Yeah, and part of phase one is you've worked all this way, all these man hours, so that you could be a guest on the What's Your Mount Rushmore podcast.
Yes.
One pinnacle after another, man.
Yes.
Keep going.
I don't know where I go from here. This could possibly be the pinnacle. And
did you peak too soon?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
For the first time, probably ever. In fact, I know it's the first time. I will thank our sponsor for this episode, and it is Minneleaf. And I'm staring at our sponsor right now.
Well, thank you for having me. Minneleaf.com, Minneleaf.
It's like Willy Wonka. Go visit him.
All right, check you later.
Bye.